Hey guys, this is Armageddon X. I wanted to post another update video on something I find very interesting. I was talking to my best friend for a while on Wednesday, and basically he was discussing with a coworker about homosexuality and cures and stuff like that, or if there is such a thing, or etc., etc. Basically, there's just a number of people that don't know very much about homosexuality and stuff like that, and he was talking to them about what what information is already known about it. So basically, I kind of want to just talk to you guys about a number of different things. I kind of want to logic it out with you guys. I'm going to try to be objective, and I'm going to try to be as honest with how much knowledge I do or do not have on this topic, which basically my knowledge is limited, layman. But so let's kind of start out with it. Let's logic it through. Is homosexuality a disease? I see nothing that causes me to think that it's a disease. It doesn't seem like it's something that you contract and then you can get rid of with like medication. So I think disease is a terrible term for it. I also think alcoholism is a terrible thing. I mean, I wouldn't call that a disease either. Okay, so I don't believe it's a disease. Do I believe it's a disorder, like a genetic malfunction or something like that? It is a genetic difference, for the most part. They do find genetic differences between people that are heterosexual and homosexual. Now, is it a disorder? Is there something wrong about it? Well, we see it in nature. We see animals acting on these things. There's no real harm in it. The major reason, I mean, if you're looking at a scientific viewpoint, the major reason why this characteristic is not sent through the gene pool a lot more is because if something is truly homosexual, they cannot reproduce. So that's why it's rare to find, but for non-reproductive purposes, it's not against the norm. So it doesn't seem like it's a disorder. It seems like it's a genetic difference. Now, the next one comes about that the statement is that some people would prefer not to be homosexual. They prefer to be normal, especially when they're in a place with a lot of peer pressure and their parents and family and family and friends having a lot of trouble accepting them for this difference about them. So the question is, can you unlearn or can you change this kind of natural characteristic about yourself? And, for example, well, you can take on, what was it? There's like, there are 4 different major characteristics of personality or something like that. There's introverted and extroverted and all these different things like that. And depending on who you are, kind of decides your pay grade and whatnot. And they say that you can change those characteristics, but it takes years of practice. I think it takes years of practice and mental training and all this stuff like that because, 1, it's not easy to do, and 2, it's something that we don't really know very much about. We don't have any real scientific backing behind any of this. What we have is just like, this works a little bit better than that. So we need a whole lot more research on this topic to figure out what works and what does not work. So it's kind of more of a belief than me backing it up with any scientific evidence or something like that, but I do believe whatever your sexuality is, whether it's homosexuality, heterosexuality, or bisexuality, or other, non-sexuality is actually not that uncommon. No matter which one of those you exhibit, you can change. The problem is we know so little about it that most of the time, every time somebody tries to make that change from one sexuality to another, it only works for a short period of time, or it half works, or it works in a lie in a way where it's manageable. And I do believe that with more information and more research and more understanding, we can do a lot better at making those kinds of adjustments. Now here comes the most important point of all. I've talked about just now whether or not we can adjust sexuality from that we get from basically. So the kind of, I mean, basically, I want to actually go on to a side topic. The one thing is, are you born with your sexuality, or do you decide on your sexuality, or is your sexuality learned? I don't think it's a decision. I've never thought it's a decision. I know that there are genetic predispositions to certain sexualities, but I don't think it's the end-all. So if I had to decide between those three, it would be more on learned, but it's really hard for a 5-foot person to play really great basketball with the pros. I mean, it's the same sort of situation. It's really hard to learn certain things. Once again, it's all about our understanding of the thing. But so back to what I was saying before, the question really becomes, once we figure out, let's say we do get that research, let's say we figure out how to change sexualities, the question goes right back onto, is it something that needs to be changed? Does sexuality need to be changed? And if it does, why not let some people freely change their sexuality from heterosexual to homosexual? Same thing, but in reverse. So I can see that in the future we're probably, I don't know how long from now, but I really believe that we're probably going to be able to figure out how to mentally program sexuality from whatever someone is into something else. But I don't see it as the great cure for homosexuality. It's something to wipe homosexuality off the planet. In fact, I believe that we may see a lot more bisexuality. I mean, I'm sure there's when you think about it, wouldn't it be kind of nice if you did have that choice where you were interested in the same sex, if it was somebody that you were just generally interested in? I personally am heterosexual, and I'm happy being heterosexual, but even though I wouldn't act upon it, it would be kind of nice to not be homophobic's the wrong word for it, but opposed to homosexuality. And right now I'm very opposed to homosexuality in me partaking of it. It's not something I'm interested in. And of course everybody's like, yeah, sure. Anyway. So I really want to know your guys' opinions. So let me go through some of the first things. Do you believe that we will eventually have enough understanding to be able to shape people's sexuality through mental programming? Do you believe that? Yes or no? That's question number one. Question number two is, well, do you know anybody that is homosexual or bisexual, and are they having any trouble dealing with friends or family? The common saying is those that care don't matter, and those that matter don't care, or something like that. Another question number three is, do you believe that homosexuality is you're born with it, you learn it, or you decide upon it? And then finally, if you could freely choose your sexuality, or you could, well, yeah, basically, if you could freely choose your sexuality, would you change it, and what would you change it from and to? I'm really curious what you guys think, and I hope this becomes kind of an interesting debate. Bye!